What's up guys, how you doing? Welcome to another Gear and Tips Tuesday, and today we are very much talking about gear because I'm at a bit of a crossroads and I don't really know where to go from here, and so I thought I would chat to you guys about that. Hopefully it's going to be a good video. Hopefully we'll get a bit of interaction off this one because I need some comments, I need some help. Let's get into it. So first things first guys, another episode of Gear and Tips Tuesday. I hope you guys are enjoying this mini kind of Tuesday series. If you are enjoying it, please do go hit that thumbs up. Loads of you guys support me on the channel, which is fantastic. The single biggest thing you could do to support the channel, I know I say it every time in recent videos, but the single biggest thing you could do to help me is press that like button. Because the more interaction we get on the videos, the more successful the channel tends to be. And it just means that we can kind of grow this and keep on doing what we're doing, because I really enjoy it. I do it because I enjoy it primarily. I probably would even do it if no one was watching, like I did when I started. But it's good fun, so let's get into it. I think it should be a fun topic today. If you're new around here, please do hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Loads of other videos to come on the channel, and I'm sure you will enjoy some of them. Don't forget to go check out my social media channels. You can find me on Instagram, 3 different places over there. You can find me at Rob Samble Sport. You can find me at Scorchers Photog. That's more basketball specific. Sorry, Scorchers specific to be real detailed about it. And last, you can find me at Rob Samble's Photo. You can also use that at Rob Samble's Photo to find me on Twitter, so make sure you go and check those out. So, yeah, look, I've got a bit of a dilemma, guys, and I've been thinking a lot, especially today, about what I should do. So, you guys know, since the very early part of my career, I have been using the 7D series, and right now I specifically use a Canon 7D Mark II, or 2 of these in fact, and also a 1DX. So I've recently moved up to using a 1DX, but currently I love the combo that having the one full frame camera and the one crop sensor gives me. The main reason for that is because I use a 300mm lens. I don't have a 400mm lens, and the crop sensor combined with the 300mm, especially the 7D and with the 300 f2.8 prime, is a fantastic combination, and I really enjoy using it. But it seems as though recently, according to all the information that is coming out of Canon, that the replacement for the 7D Mark II might not be coming, and that's what was the rumoured 7D Mark III. Now, I'm not desperate for change. I talk a lot on this channel about you don't need to always get the best gear, and I'm a believer in that. But that said, both my 7D2s are quite old now. I've been using them for a while. The shutter counts are growing on them. And at some point soon, I will need a replacement for one of those. The 1DX is a lot newer. That will be fine for quite a long way yet. But one of my 7D2s will need replacing. And what do? I had been holding out, waiting, so I would upgrade to the 7D Mark III. But that seems as though it is not going to happen. And so it puts me in a situation where I'm stuck. Let me quickly show you the Canon Rumours website, where they're talking about the fact that 7D3 is going to be discontinued. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So yeah, it seems as though, Canon's intention is to end the 7D series. Now, that's not necessarily a huge surprise. I say it is. To be honest, I did expect the release of the 7D3, but that said, at the same time, I suppose it isn't a huge surprise. When we look here, it basically kind of suggests they're instead going to be looking at a crop sensor version of their new mirrorless cameras, the EOS R. There were lots of rumours that the next mirrorless camera from Canon would be almost like a 1DX equivalent. But it seems as though their next big release might potentially be a crop sensor, which is interesting. But nonetheless, it does seem as though, rest well, Canon 7D series, it seems as though it will be the end of the 7D series, which obviously I've been using a 7D or a 7D2 for pretty much my entire kind of pro career of shooting any kind of professional photography. So it is interesting. So that puts me in a situation, right, where I've got a decision to make, and I guess, like, what do I do? Of course, one of the logical things I could do is take the opportunity to move to full frame, and I could buy another 1DX. Now, if I buy another 1DX, the trouble is I will then be shooting a full frame camera on a 300mm, and I would be worried about that not giving me the reach that I need for some of the football that I have to cover. So then if I did that, the trouble is, not only is there a big financial outlay to get another 1DX, I also then have to get a 400mm prime f2.8, which means all in, just that simple change is going to end up costing me many thousands of pounds, and that is not something which A, I can easily do, and B, it is a very bitter pill to swallow, as is pretty much every photography purchase that we make, right? But I guess that's what we get for getting into photography. Even worse for getting into sports photography. Now, my another option, or another option, of course, would be to get another 7D2, so a newer 7D2. But that said, if I'm investing in a new camera body, well, perhaps I should be taking the opportunity to try to upgrade or look for something a little bit different. And when we look at the Canon rumours, or all the stuff that's coming out of Canon right now, it seems as though the intention is for their next big crop sensor camera to be the Canon 90D, which will be an upgrade for their current existing 80D model, and a lot of people are saying it could fulfill some of the needs of current 7D Mark II users. And I've got to say, from looking at the specs, it does seem like that could be the case. Let me show you the specs for the 90D. So yeah, the 90D, it's when you look at the spec list, it sounds, I mean, obviously these are rumoured specs. I think that's important to remember, but a few important bits that stand out to me: the dual card slot, both SD cards, which is interesting, 10 frames per second, of course, important, 45 autofocus points, interesting, dust and moisture sealing, not really so much of a key thing for me, but you know, I tend to use rain covers. Built-in Wi-Fi, interesting. Of course, I haven't had Wi-Fi in the 7D2, so that is quite interesting. And they reckon that's going to be coming in August 2019. So it does seem, in fact, as it says here, it does seem as though Canon's intention is perhaps that the 90D would be the potential replacement for those looking to replace their 7D Mark II while still keeping the crop sensor. So, you know, it looks like an interesting camera, but when I look at the specs, and the trouble is, generally speaking, these rumoured specs always tend to be perhaps slightly better than they actually are when the camera comes out, I don't look at that camera and think it's a big upgrade for a 7D Mark II. So, again, I feel like I'm stuck in this dilemma of what do I do? Now, of course, another option, which I'm sure a lot of you guys would be shouting down your phone screens, your computer screens right now, is that I could look to make the jump to mirrorless cameras. That would be a jump earlier than I would have intended. I have no doubt at all that at some point in the future I will be switching to a mirrorless system. I think that's the future of photography. That's realistically what I was doing. Sony already have a mirrorless system that seems good for sports photography, but right now I don't plan on changing brands. That's another whole suggestion. I'm sure people will say, well, at jump ship, go to Nikon, to Sony, Fuji, whatever. Yeah, great, I would do that, but again, the expense of switching my entire system over, lenses and everything, is more than I can realistically do right now. So whilst I would love to have the ability to do that, I don't at the moment, because the outlay would be too great for me. So yeah, the other rumour is that it seems as though the not so distant future, and some of the rumours now are even late 2019, maybe early 2020, that Canon will release their latest EOS R range camera, which will be almost like a 1DX equivalent, so aimed at sports and action shooters. Now, that would be great, but again, I expect the price point attached to that will be substantial. Probably puts me in a similar situation to, if not more expensive, to upgrading to getting a second 1DX, and then I still have the challenge with the lenses of what do I do to upgrade some of my gear there to make my whole system work. So I think you guys kind of see where I'm at. I feel like I'm in a tough spot. Logically, it seems as like my best option would be to buy another 7D Mark II, because I could get one for not too bad a price right now, but then is the 7D2 going to last me for another 2 years, which is probably realistically how long I would then end up using that camera body for. And it's a tough spot. So I'm interested in what you guys think. And a lot of you guys out there, I know a lot of you are 7D2 shooters. That's how a lot of people end up following me, because I talked about using the 7D2 quite a bit. So I'm interested. What do you guys use? And what's your thoughts on this situation? Perhaps you didn't know some of the details of what I've just shared. Maybe you did. Perhaps you've analysed it loads, and maybe you've already made your own decisions when you're in a similar situation to me. And I would be really interested in that if you have. So please do comment below and let me know your thoughts, because I'm sat here this evening feeling a bit lost on what I'm going to do with my gear, hence why I thought it should be the topic of today's Gear and Tips Tuesdays. And yeah, I guess that's where we're up to, guys. I hope you found it interesting. I hope it was a good video. I think it was. It's good just to talk sometimes. I get so much interaction now through not just my YouTube, also my Instagram, Twitter. And it's cool, I really enjoy it. I've taken bits of advice that you guys have given me before, and I've implemented them into my workflow or my gear selection, and it's been real cool. So, guys, I think that's about it. I'm going to round off right there. If you have got any opinions or anything you want to share, whack it right down there in the comments. It would be awesome to see. Thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys on Friday when I've got a cool video coming your way. I won't give it away, I won't spoil what it is, but it's going to be a good one. That's coming on Friday, so I will see you guys then. See you later.